just a quick update. What I've been doing over the last 2 days, being slumped over a hot computer, trying to figure out, firstly, how to get the circuit working and improve it, and secondly, so let's zoom into that. Come over here. There we are. So, secondly, how people can actually assemble a circuit like this. It's all well and good if you've got soldering irons and all sorts of other bits, but I did look at getting it at the cost of getting printed circuit boards made up, and it would cost something like £96 for 3 for a circuit board this size. So obviously that rules it out. Umming and ahhing, and then suddenly thought, well, hang on a minute, I've built this circuit on what's called a breadboard. A breadboard is basically a piece of plastic with lots of holes, and on the back, you can see this is transparent, this one, it's got lots and lots of little strips of connectors, spring connectors, so little sockets, so you can plug components in and they're connected in rows. So each of these rows, 5 holes, is connected, and therefore it helps you to try and sort out your design and test a circuit by putting it together without having to spend hours soldering and fiddling about, and you can easily move things. So that was the first thing, and I realised and found that you can buy very small little breadboards. So I decided that that's what we're going to use for the kit. I'm going to get some little breadboards, self-adhesive backs, that people can then use to assemble all the circuits that I can, all the components that I can provide them with, without needing any soldering on or anything else. Personally, I love doing this sort of thing. It's great. There's something so precise about plugging little bits and pieces in. And then I went on to think, well, how can we let people know what goes where? In the old days, when I used to do teaching, when I started teaching in fact, you'd get people who loved these things, and there's letters across the bottom and there's numbers up the side, and they'd say, oh, put a resistor between J4 and 5H. I just think, this is so boring. So when I was teaching, I came up with the idea of having these little overlays, and I thought I'd do one for this circuit. So this is a slightly earlier version, but you can see that I'm going to print this on a sticky back paper sheet, big label, and then people can peel it off, stick it onto their lovely little new fresh breadboard, and then start putting components in the right place. And I've also got the circuit sorted out. At one stage I realised that once this had gone by and the hand had gone right round past the hour trigger and it was going off, then it would keep going off. So if you'd gone to have a bath, or if you'd gone out or something had happened, it would go off. And I calculated with 4 AA batteries, 12 hours solidly blowing the horn, which would possibly not make you very popular with your neighbours. It was quite an easy thing to do actually, because using this 555 timer, which is very versatile, it has all sorts of timing functions, but you can also use it as a little memory, which I was doing, so it remembers when the arm on the clock has gone round and switches the trumpet on, and then doesn't switch it off again. But with the addition of 2 little components, I can create the timer function, so it goes round, doesn't do anything, keeps the clock working, the hand goes round, ping, contacts go, and the timer then switches the horn on, switches the motor off, and makes a noise, but for 20 seconds before switching itself off. Started ordering bits and pieces. Some things have arrived already, which is very exciting. You know, you don't want to buy too many things too early before you've actually sorted out all the details, as I've found to my cost several times in the past, where I think, oh, that's the way I'm going to do it, get bits, and then find actually they don't work. One of the things I was thinking was these Munson rings, which I think I've talked about before, pipe rings, whatever you want to call them, which I'm going to use to fix the copper components in place. They normally have a base that they screw into like this, and then you have 2 screws that fit into whatever it is that you're fixing the whole thing to. I'm using 3mm ply. It's going to be cut out on the laser cutter. I'm using this. Now that is not thick enough, and I suddenly thought, hang on a minute, these rings, these pipe rings, are M10 thread, and I found a very cheap supplier, thankfully, that sold very short M10 bolts. Now this is perfect. I don't need this bit, get rid of that. All I need is the actual pipe ring, and to cut a 10mm hole in the plywood, and then it can be screwed in like this, and it'll hold it and support it really nicely. As I say, keep costs down, keep it small and compact, and make it slightly simpler, although as with everything it seems to be getting extremely complicated. Lovely. I'm now going to stop talking and I'm going to get on with it. As always, I hope you're going to find the information useful, especially to those of you who are trying to build your own steampunk machines. Thanks for watching.